Tokyo Disney Resort have just made an enormous announcement that has huge implications for the future of both Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo DisneySea. I just spent 3 nights there staying at the Disneyland Hotel in the Miracosta and just having an amazing time, and I'm exhausted, and I get through the door and I check my phone and find out that they've dropped this bombshell of ideas and plans that they have for the future of Adventureland at Tokyo Disneyland and Port Discovery over at Tokyo DisneySea. So I'm going to break all of that down in this video and give my thoughts and feelings as someone who lives in Tokyo and has lived here for 6 years, going to the parks on a regular basis. If you're planning a trip to Tokyo or you've been to Tokyo and just want to sort of relive your memories, please do subscribe to this channel. I have weekly videos all about the Tokyo Disney parks that will hopefully help to make your trip even more special, or just let you relive the magic of being at this special place. So please do hit subscribe, and if you're enjoying all the stuff you see and you want to help support the channel, do check out the Patreon. You can get early access to videos, and there's also a tier in which I can help you to plan your trip. You can send me messages whenever you want to make sure that your trip goes flawlessly without a hitch. So please do check that out if that sounds interesting to you. Now, the first thing that I really want to make clear with this, because I'm sure you're going to see a lot of headlines saying Tokyo Disney have announced this and they're building that, and none of this is really concrete. None of this has actually, whilst it is official, it was included in a sort of vague sense in the quarterly report to say, we have a 10-year plan, and this is the sort of thing that we're thinking about doing within the next 10 years. So this is not shovels in the ground tomorrow morning stuff. It's not even clear that this is gonna happen, any of it. But what this does do is it lets the fans and the shareholders, probably more importantly to them, know what OLC's intentions are for the future of Tokyo Disney Resort. OLC being the owners and operators of Tokyo Disney Resort. Disney do not own and operate the Tokyo parks. Some of you may have seen my video talking about the Alice in Wonderland ride that was included in some concept art a long time ago for Tokyo Disneyland, or have heard me talk about the Frozen area that was going to be next to Indiana Jones at DisneySea, which transformed eventually and evolved into Fantasy Springs, which is in a totally different place, looks very different. So I think these plans are similar to those in that they do give hints at what will be coming, but it's very not concrete, it's very abstract, it's very open to interpretation at this point, so let's interpret. Now, the Adventureland one is absolutely bonkers and has so much, so I want to start with the Port Discovery concept art that we've seen because it's a bit easier to digest. Now, I've been saying for a while that I believe Port Discovery is prime for some future development, simply because it's a reasonably significant amount of land in the park, which does not draw crowds. It doesn't hold crowds. People don't go there, and they don't really ride the rides there. You've got Nemo and Friends Sea Rider and Aquatopia, but the park could definitely redevelop this area into something that attracts new guests and sells queue skipping passes, which, you know, we also have to be thinking about in this era of Tokyo Disney. Nobody's going to pay to skip the queue on Nemo and Friends Sea Rider or Aquatopia, but they might pay to skip the queue on a big new ride. So yeah, I've been sort of expecting Port Discovery to see some big changes in the future. The plans I had in my mind, which I've talked about in videos in the past, kept Aquatopia and got rid of Sea Rider, because I feel like Aquatopia is the stronger ride of the two. It's also kind of iconic. It was the first ever trackless ride. It's a big part of DisneySea's identity, I feel like. And it's on the opposite side to the area where they originally planned that Frozen area I just talked about. So there's a lot of area for expansion behind Sea Rider. So I thought Sea Rider would be the collateral damage for them to expand into that area. However, what we're seeing from this artwork is the exact opposite of that. Nemo and Friends Sea Rider is right there. It's just there. It hasn't changed at all. The electric railway station hasn't changed, and presumably the restaurant underneath it is still the way it is right now. The big change is where Aquatopia currently sits. Instead of having this open waterway, we have this sort of neo-Victorian cityscape, which I have to say, on first reflection, doesn't seem to be based on any sort of Disney movie or Disney IP of any kind, which is incredible. The idea of them adding to Port Discovery and really helping this area, which is the weakest of every area in the park. It's always had so much potential, but never really met that potential. The idea of them actually trying to meet that potential is really, really exciting. Imagine all of the details that you see in the New York area of the park, but instead of being a slightly romanticized version of a real place, everything just being this fantastical, totally unique, totally original place, but with that same attention to detail. What I tend to believe, and the general consensus I've seen, is that the big building on the top left would be a new ride of some sorts, an indoor ride, dark ride probably, and then at the bottom, you're seeing shops and restaurants. I love the verticality of it. I love the way that you're going under bridges and under these walkways, and just this whole fantastical industrial setting I think is so cool. I said on the podcast, Land of the Rising Sun Weekly Tokyo Disney podcast, wherever you find your podcasts, I said on there, we quickly did an emergency podcast before I could record this. It looks like an alternate plan from back in 2001, back before the park even opened. It looks like the sort of thing that Imagineering would have come up with way back then. It fits DisneySea so well because it's just more of Port Discovery, really. And the idea of not squeezing IP in here is difficult to believe, which is what has led to a lot of people to speculate. Some people saying it's the Sanctum Sanctorum from the Doctor Strange films. Some people saying it could be Naboo or something to do with the Star Wars universe. People saying it could be from Atlantis or Treasure Planet or all of this stuff. You know, we've been burned so much in the last few years that it's so hard to allow ourselves to imagine just a new dark ride that's not based on a movie at all. And maybe I'm being naive in suggesting that that's what it could even be, but if any Disney park around the world was going to build a new dark ride that's not based on a movie in the next 10 years, it would be Tokyo. I mean, look, we're building a Space Mountain ride right now. We're building a huge new indoor roller coaster themed around space that's not Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not Star Wars. It's not based on anything. It's just a new Space Mountain. DisneySea is also home to, if I'm not mistaken, the most recent Disney ride that's not based on a Disney movie, and that's Soarin', which opened in 2019. So it's not too far-fetched to think that Oriental Land Company could be the ones who are pushing for something that's not based on a film. Maybe they're going to say, hey, look, we just got 4 brand new rides in this park that are all based on Disney movies. It's time for something that's a bit more DisneySea. It's time for something that's a bit more unique. It's time for something, say it with me, that's not based on a Disney IP. Whew! Can you imagine? Can you imagine a new Port Discovery dark ride? My goodness. Now, another thing that makes it hard to get too carried away with this dark ride idea is that that's not a ton of space. And those clouds at the top left could be hiding something pretty important. It's either one of two things that's behind here. Either it's the river, like there is right now, which would on the one hand mean that this ride building isn't going to be enormous, but on the other hand would mean that the transit steamer can continue to go all around the park just like it has been doing since 2001 when the park opened. Or behind this building is the edge of the park, and that waterway is gone. And there does seem to be something else in this artwork that would support that idea, because whilst you can see some water behind those clouds back there, something you can also see is the transit steamer line right there. So, you know, that could be them showing you, hey, it's not going anywhere, don't worry. But also it's circling around this new caldera of sorts. I don't know what that is exactly, but that could be a lovely little detour that the transit steamer line would now take, or it could be an area for the steamer line to turn around and go back where it came from, back towards Lost River Delta, because it doesn't go around the entire park anymore. So that worries me. I adore the transit steamer line, and the idea of it not going around the entire park, I do think would be at the park's detriment, and especially at the transit steamer line ride experience's detriment. Something I would love is if they could have it both ways, you know, and have that dark ride building go all the way back there, but the transit steamer line has a tunnel that it can go through and interact with whatever ride is in there. Oh, I'm getting a little too excited about this thing, but look at it. Isn't this artwork so cool? I just love the idea of walking through this vibrant cityscape and then getting to a brand new dark ride back there. And some people have said that, oh, so this is Cape Cod, right? This is where Cape Cod is right now. That can't just be the Aquatopia space. Well, maybe it can just be the Aquatopia space, because we can pretty clearly see Aunt Peg's Village Store, which is the last shop, the last building in Cape Cod. We can see it right there. So I think they could execute this plan and push it right up to those buildings, bring it right over to where the Ukiwa Man stand is now. There's a little food stall there, covering all of the Aquatopia area, eating into the river a little bit. I think it is a lot of space back there. Would I be sad to see Aquatopia go? Yeah, I would. I think it's iconic. I think it's a big part of DisneySea and the park's history, but my word, if this is what they were building in its place, I wouldn't be upset for too long. I think if this artwork were executed exactly as we're seeing right now, you're getting a lot for what you're losing. And you might be thinking, well, you don't even know what ride is in there. It could be something terrible. I don't think it could be. I really don't think it could. I'm not even going to bother speculating on what a dark ride could be in there, because especially if it's not based on an IP, who knows what they could cook up in there. It just could literally be anything. But like I said, the new incentive for rides, now that we charge money for people to skip the queues for the big popular rides, you're incentivized to build big popular rides at the expense of small things like Aquatopia. So if that's the case, this has to be a pretty spectacular dark ride. And I have to say, oh, it's just so perfect. It's so good, because I still think DisneySea needs more family dark rides. And that might sound crazy because we just got 4 brand new ones, but this park gets so busy, and it needs more rides that appeal to everybody, that are not thrill rides, because we have plenty of those here. You know, rides that appeal to everyone and can accommodate huge numbers of people every single day. The problem is, the best ride that does that is a boat ride, and you have to think, like, it's DisneySea. Boat rides make so much sense, but we can't just fill the entire park with boat rides. This doesn't look like a boat ride to me. Getting like a trackless, or even not, I don't care if it's trackless or not, just getting like a really good indoor dark ride for DisneySea would add a lot to this park. It's a big gap that could be filled by this. Oh, I'm just so excited by this. I think it looks so cool. Like I said, maybe it's like, okay, we did the family Disney film thing now. Next, we need something that is more DisneySea. And, whoa, I mean, this would do it. My goodness. Okay, so that's Port Discovery. Let's move on to the next one, which I think a lot more people are talking about, because the implications are just huge in both directions on this one. Okay, so like we did with the last one, let's start with what hasn't changed. What hasn't changed seems to be Pirates of the Caribbean. You seem to be able to see the Pirates of the Caribbean show building, the New Orleans village that surrounds Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean seems to be the edge of what's not being touched. And that's about it. Like, from there, it just goes wackazoid bonkers. So what we're seeing is the removal of the Jungle Cruise, which is an enormous amount of land. That opens up so much land. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Now, Jungle Cruise, the station building of Jungle Cruise is shared by the Western River Railroad, the train. Tokyo Disneyland does not have a train that goes around the entire park. It has a train with one station that makes a round trip behind Adventureland, I guess, and around the Western River, Westernland. Goes past Splash Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain and around the rivers of America that surround Tom Sawyer Island. That is also gone here, which again, those implications are just huge, because if the train is gone, then we're rethinking everything about this entire side of Tokyo Disneyland. If that train is gone, then I think the rivers are up next. If the rivers are going, maybe Big Thunder's going. If Big Thunder's going, gosh, we've already talked loads about how Splash Mountain could be going, seeing as it's already been removed from the other 2 locations where it existed. Like, Disney seemed pretty keen to get rid of it. So you can run off in all of those directions, but for now, let's just look at what's actually in this artwork. It does also seem that the Polynesian dinner theater restaurant would be gone, which, you know, isn't a huge loss. And the Enchanted Tiki Room presents, the Enchanted Tiki Room : Stitch presents Aloha Como Mai. Well, you know, I think that's fine. I don't think anyone's losing sleep over that. Okay, so what can we see here? Well, I just said that the Port Discovery artwork we just looked at seemed like it could have been made in 2001, right? It could have been part of the original plans for DisneySea. It's that true to what DisneySea has always been. These are the exact opposite. This is such 2025 Disney concept art. This is the new blueprint, right? This is removing things that are old and dated and potentially problematic in some ways and replacing them with Disney movie IP areas. Oh, another thing, the Swiss Family Treehouse would be gone, which, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I like the treehouse. I think it's cool, but it's been sat there dormant, unopened for the last 4 years at this point. So, I mean, yeah, please just put it out of its misery. But yeah, most of this is sitting on the land that the Jungle Cruise currently occupies and then potentially keeps on going towards Big Thunder and wherever. So you said IPs. What IPs are in here, Jordan? Well, I think the clearest one is Up. This Paradise Falls waterfall, I didn't get it at first, I will admit, but as soon as you look at it side by side with the movie, it's like, oh yeah, no question, that's what it is. And then there's balloons flying up as well. Like it's pretty clear that that's what that is. So I think we're talking about a major Up themed e-ticket, probably another dark ride. Tokyo Disney love their dark rides. I think we can see the entrance over here. I think this is the exit. I think you get this beautiful frontage of this big rocky waterfall, and then we go inside. There's a lot of trees around here. It's not impossible to imagine this could be a dark ride that starts outdoors and then goes inside. That would really help to differentiate it from a lot of other rides in both parks, because we don't really have that, apart from Rapunzel, I guess, which we just built. Or maybe they've learned their lesson that Tokyo's, thunderstorms and tropical heat are not the best recipe for an outdoor ride. But yeah, a big Up ride. I mean, it fits. I think the thing with a lot of this artwork is it fits the name Adventureland. Like, if you just heard the term Adventureland for the first time ever right now, Disney are building a new area of the park called Adventureland. This might be what you imagine. But it is a far cry from what Adventureland has been, this sort of Polynesian, for lack of a better term, area of the park. Something to the left of the Up, what I think is the Up entrance, which I'm quite curious about, is this little drawbridge. Now, is this the queue for the Up ride? That would be cool. Is this a play area that kids can just explore, or like a walkthrough? That would maybe be even cooler. I do think with both pieces of artwork they're showing, there seems to be quite a nice balance of nice areas to explore, things that are not necessarily movie-based, and then things that very much are. At the bottom here, we can see some little canoes sort of circling around. It seems like it could be, I don't know, some kind of trackless boat thing, like Aquatopia. Maybe they're just going to move Aquatopia over here and change the vehicles into little rowboats. Who knows? Some people are saying Moana, which I don't think the boats is particularly screaming Moana. Like, that really could just be anything. However, these sort of tarps over the bridge where the current Adventureland entrance sign is, that's Moana, isn't it? They're very Moana. And Moana would be great for sort of bridging that gap between what Adventureland was before and what Adventureland seems to be becoming. Get some of that Polynesia in there. Something I didn't realize, particularly when I first looked at this artwork, is because you're looking at all these details in the back. What is this in the foreground, right at the front here? That's another enormous building, isn't it? And half of it seems to be green, bushy, that's going to fit into this Moana, whatever it is, area, and the other half, we'll get to that in a second, but could this be the indoor portion of whatever those outdoor boats are doing over there? Who knows? Again, it's worth reiterating that when this isn't what's going to happen. It's going to change, it's going to transform. It's just giving you an idea of the scale. But this big thing in the foreground makes me think the scale is pretty enormous, like even bigger than it seems at first glance. Now, you might be thinking it's hilarious that Adventure World in Disneyland Paris got like a tiny little Rapunzel flat ride when we got a big Rapunzel boat ride. And they also announced a tiny little Up-themed chair swing ride. And now we seem to be announcing an enormous Up ride. But we seem to be getting the chair swings as well. Over here, it seems to be a little spinny chair swing ride, which, to be honest, cool. I like the idea of squeezing little flat rides into other areas of the park. It adds a lot of kinetic energy. It's something fun that the whole family can do. The park needs stuff that, again, because with this new idea, you can cynically believe, oh, they only want to build big rides now because that's what sells the DPA. And we do have to take that seriously, I think. But it's nice to see that, oh no, they do understand that we do still need a good balance of big rides and small rides and medium rides, you know, to help to balance those crowds out. So that's a cool thing. I like that over there. I guess my one thing would be, please don't theme it around a film. Just don't. Just let it be a little chair swing thing in the jungle, you know? I think the film-based rides should really be story-based rides. Otherwise, what are we doing? What's the point? Oh, then again, I guess Baymax is cool, so whatever. All they have to do is come up with 6 different catchy tunes and a dance routine that the cast members do while they run this ride, and it'll have the longest queue in the park, so I guess they know what they're doing. Okay, then, let's move on to the elephant in the room, because what is this? What is this? That's not Adventureland. Tomorrowland's the complete opposite side of the park. What is this? We don't have big outdoor roller coasters at Tokyo Disney. What is going on? Is this replacing Big Thunder? Okay, so this is Incredibles, isn't it? This is based on the Incredibles. This is based on I think it's called Nomanison Island. It's like a pun, right? No man is an island, ha ha ha. But the island that Syndrome occupies, I guess, in the first Incredibles movie. I love the Incredibles. That's very, very exciting. What would lead you to think that it is that? Well, not only do the mountains kind of sort of look like that, we can also see this big octopusy thing, which seems to be that big domed ball robot with the sort of tentacle Dr. Octopus style, you know, arms coming out of it. And let me just say, The Incredibles is really, really good. If we can get an Incredicoaster that's built from the ground up to fit around that IP with an OLC budget and maintenance, with a Michael Giacchino score as you're whizzing around this area with some indoor sections with animatronics and special effects, whew, this could be a world-topping story-driven coaster. This could be something very, very special. Is it eating into Big Thunder Mountain? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe we have enough space with the train and Jungle Cruise to fit all of this stuff. I don't know. But the fact that this part of the artwork seems like unfinished, like that's not the whole coaster, right? It seems to be the start of something. And actually, it also seems to me to be suggesting like this isn't a blueprint, you know? This isn't exactly where everything's going. It's giving me a little bit of that Beyond Big Thunder thing when they announced for the Magic Kingdom, like, oh, and back here we're going to do like a Villain's Land or something. We haven't really figured that out yet. That's what this is saying to me. This is saying we want to have the upride in Adventureland. We want to change a lot of Adventureland. And then there's going to be more. There's going to be huge new changes coming to Western Land, which is off in that direction. But for now, we'll just give you this little teaser of some kind of Incredibles roller coaster or something. And whew, like I say, I mean, I could pour over every tiny little detail in here, but I think we just did. Well, I guess there's this pterodactyl. I mean, what's that doing there? Why is there a pterodactyl there? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Some people are saying Encanto for the yellow house next to it. Encanto is one of my favorite Disney films, especially recently. I would love to see an Encanto ride back there. I don't think that's particularly what that is. Some people are saying indoor theater. That makes more sense to me, especially since we'd be losing an outdoor theater in these plans, which is basically right where that is. But yeah, what I really want to get into is what this means for the whole park. I think for the last 40 years or so, 42 years actually, almost to the date, Tokyo Disneyland has done a great job of adding. They've always added. They added Toontown. They added Splash Mountain. They started to get rid of some stuff. Like they got rid of a very old show, kind of similar to Carousel of Progress, called Meet the World. They got rid of that to build Monsters, Inc. We got rid of the Speedway and Starjets to build Baymax and Beauty and the Beast. Right now, we're currently flattening Space Mountain and changing Buzz Lightyear completely into a new Space Mountain and a Wreck-It Ralph ride. So it seems that those days of just adding things without taking away are over. It seems like OLC want to turn Tokyo Disneyland into a new, modern Disney park. For so long, it was the nostalgic park. It was the, oh, it looks like Magic Kingdom did in the 70s park. It was the one you go to do the original Haunted Mansion, untouched, to see Tomorrowland like it always used to be. And I think those days are gone. You know, I've talked before, as a lot of us fans have, about where will Tokyo Disney build a third park? They can totally build a third park. Where's the third park going to go? Well, the whole time we didn't realize, under our noses, Tokyo Disneyland is turning into the third park. The 3 parks of Tokyo Disney will be the original Tokyo Disneyland up until like 2020 DisneySea, and then whatever new Tokyo Disneyland, whatever the park looks like come, gosh, I mean, they want to do this by 2035. So if we're talking about Western Land and Critter Country and all that as well, let's say 2040, shall we? 2040, 2045 is going to be a long haul. Do not rush over here just to try out, I don't know, Jungle Cruise, as if they don't have it in the American parks already. This is a long-term plan. A lot is going to change. But I think what it does tell you is OLC are not precious about keeping these old rides anymore. They're not precious about Tokyo Disneyland being the nostalgic park. They want it to stand up alongside DisneySea. They want it to stand up alongside the other Disney parks around the world, the other theme parks around the world. And they're more than happy to break plenty of eggs to make that omelette. So, I mean, the identity of the park is going to change enormously in the decades to come. It's very, very exciting to imagine OLC budgets on brand new dark rides and brand new Disney rides. It's super exciting, but it's not going to be Tokyo Disneyland anymore. It's going to be something very, very different. And of course, I will be covering every single one of these little changes and announcements and everything on this channel, along with vlogs and updates and rankings and all of that stuff. So please do subscribe to the channel if you're into that sort of thing. And why not give this video a watch next? YouTube thinks you'll like it, and I do too.